Bonjour tout le monde, hello everyone, and welcome, bienvenue to our second episode here at the Simaudio studios. It's now live at Moon. We have a special guest with us today, and I can't wait to chat with him. So we're just going to get right to it. But before that, happy St. Patrick's Day. Joyeux Saint Patrick à tout le monde, partout au monde aujourd'hui. As you can see, we got the little Irish setup ready, and we're good to go for a little later. Anyways, on to the music. So today's guest, we have Mr. Brian Slack. Brian Slack is the founding father of the Montreal Blues Society. Brian, thank you so much for being with us today on our show.
Devin, thanks for the invite. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. This is awesome. I've been wanting to chat with you for quite a while. We've known each other for a while, like digitally, online. We've been chatting a lot back and forth, but I follow all the work you do. I know the festivals you're in. We're going to be talking about that too. And yeah, just the blues scene and your involvement in the music. And we're going to go from there. Sounds good?
Sounds great.
Awesome. And then, yeah, afterwards, we'll have a little whiskey
talk?
and a little music.
I'm in.
And then the chicken wings after.
Okay.
All right, so let's jump in. So as I mentioned, Brian, you are the founding member of the Montreal Blues Society. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's hear a little bit about you.
Well, you were mentioning about the Cafe Campus nights, the Wednesday night blues series back in the 90s.
Oh yeah, back in the 90s.
And those basically that's where we started the Blues Society. We're a bunch of blues fans. And we noticed that the media was not picking up on our music that we liked. Mm-hmm. So we decided to start something so that we can get the word out. So that, you got Coco Taylor, Clarence Gatemount Brown, you got some great names coming, but, the newspapers are not talking about it, the radio stations aren't talking about it. So we took it upon ourselves to kind of, get the movement going. And that's where we happened on a Wednesday night, decided to put the Blues Society together, and there you go. It was
yeah, I remember because that became like a ritual for us, me and a group of friends. It was called our Wednesday night blues nights. Actually, that's where I first saw Little Charlie playing.
Oh, great.
That was a great show. And
I was there.
Yeah. Well, we were probably just sitting right beside each other, but back then we didn't really know each other either. But yeah, that's great. So basically, it's like you're part of a scene, and Montreal has been known also to have a great underground jazz scene in the past and all that too. But what made you go to creating the society itself? Well,
I was familiar with the Toronto Blues Society.
Okay.
I have a good friend that's president there, Derek Andrews, and I just thought there was something missing here in Montreal, and I thought we could benefit from having a blues society to help promote the artists, get the word out. Not only in Quebec, but outside of Quebec. Mm-hmm. So that was basically the whole idea. And we were kind of more of a promoting type of blues society.
Okay.
Others put on shows.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to focus more on the promotion part.
Okay, so you're like a big supporting organization.
Correct.
Really supporting the scene and all that.
Correct. We do, over the years, we started to do a couple of things. Like we do the Quebec to Memphis competition, for the International Blues Challenge.
Okay.
So we put that together, but we don't do per se like some other blues societies that do, maybe one show a month and they produce it. Mm-hmm. We try to do more promotion. So that's the goal.
Well, I've been following you guys for years on the social medias, like on your Facebook page and all that. I've seen all the different places where you are. You tend to have pop-up fests. I've even seen you at the DDO Blues Fest and so forth. And you do have a presence also within the U.S. too, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, not as the Montreal Blues Society we do, because we've had some great competitors who went far into the International Blues Challenge.
Okay.
So imagine, we're Canadians and we're going into the U.S. and we're competing against all the great bands from the U.S. Mm-hmm. And we managed to get, place second and even win the competition. So that kind of surprised a lot of people, and we got a lot more attention. And we really give good support. So the artists, when they go there, they end up not paying for anything because there's no you're not getting paid. So you got to cover flights, mm-hmm. you got to cover per diems and all that kind of stuff. So we do fundraising to help promote, and it's been a It's been a great journey. It's too bad, with the COVID, we had to take a little break, so we hope to be back for 2023.
I think everyone's going to be coming in like a storm this summer. So you mentioned some of the artists. Like, who are some of these artists that you've worked with? Any names that we probably know, or?
Well, in reference to the International Blues Challenge, we've had, Don Toller Watson
Nice.
won the whole thing.
Yeah.
Don and Paul Delorier, they,
Yep.
as a duo, they finished second, I believe. Angel Forrest was in the finals. Steve Hill was even there competing. So we've had some really good representation.
That's a lot of representation. Those are from more like the areas of like, they're mostly from Quebec, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or there's some from outside of...
Well, in terms of the Blues Society, it's only Quebec
Yeah.
artists. If you're talking about my other role...
Yeah, your other role, because we're going to get into that too.
Yeah, so my other role, I work with all kinds of artists. They could be from, the States. I even worked with an artist in Europe. And so, if it moves me and I want to work with it, we try to make it
Because
happen.
we do have like an international audience. Like we have people that are watching sometimes from Australia. We got people in La France. So we have people in. I know someone's watching in England right now. So we have everyone. So basically, on the international side of things, like where does Brian stand? Like how long you've been a part of the scene like for quite a while. Like tell us more about yourself. Like that's what we're dying to know.
I come from a family where my dad is a huge jazz fan.
Okay.
So I got exposed to music, the older music from him. I have two older brothers, and they were into all the classic rock as we know today.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up, DJing all the parties because, they were having a good time. So
Everyone starts as a DJ.
So music was always a big part. And I never thought of it as a career,
Mm-hmm.
but it eventually happened. So in the 80s, I became a DJ. I was DJing weddings, and I eventually started doing nightclubs. So in the 80s, I was a DJ at Chicago's Woody's Pub.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for about 10 years. I had artists who would come up to me and give me their 45 and say, hey, can you play my song? That's how far back I go. So, so that's how it started. And then eventually artists kept coming to me, can you help? We need some help. And so I would take on some projects, and little by little, I was into alternative music. I had a jazz trio that I was working with. I was covering all kinds of different ground.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the blues really came in. And that's where I really settled down in a place where I was comfortable. And, it's been good to me ever since. It's been a lot of hard work, but it's been good to me ever since.
Well, blues is definitely one of my big go-to style of music. I've been a blues fan for many moons. And you got a treat of some of it in our sound room before, like listening in and stuff. Like, wasn't that like being in a speakeasy? Wasn't that cool?
Well, I mean, that's, I was making fun. I was like, that TDK commercial there where the guy's sitting in the chair and his hair is going back. That's what I felt like, minus the hair. But it's impressive. It's really high end, and it was coming from a streaming format on
Mm-hmm.
top of that, which really impressed me because I'm an analog guy,
Yep.
True. But it's going to be interesting to go back and listen to my sound system tonight.
But if you're wondering, we actually invited Brian a little earlier to try out our sound room, and he was blown away. So was I my first time too. It's something else. We'll definitely have an episode where we're going to probably venture into the sound room, but we'll get back to that.
But it was a perfect example of people should really take the time to listen to music.
Yes.
And not just use it as background noise. I mean, that's the one thing the pandemic got me back into listening to vinyl and just sitting down and going from side A to side B.
Actually, that's where a lot of the audience members are going to probably relate with you too, because we have out there like a lot of audiophiles and a lot of people who are fanatics of a good quality sounding system, which Moon does provide 100%. And you got to experience it, and so there's a lot of relation there. It's really about the importance of the sound quality. So basically, speaking of like feeling like being in speakeasy and all that, you've participated, like you've already mentioned one festival down in the U.S., but what are some of your other projects and fests that you're currently tied in with or got coming up? Or
Well, right now we're trying to revive things, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's coming out of COVID. But there's one event that didn't suffer through COVID, which is the Trois-Rivières en Blues.
Okay.
A festival that we've been doing now for, I think we're going on to 15 years pretty soon. And we managed to do it in 2020. We had to do it in front of 250 people, which was kind of special. It was more like a VIP special, or festival, I should say. And, we managed to do it last year for about 2,000 people. So this year, we're really looking forward to having our main stage and a second stage going, so we can get things back to normal. But there's some great festivals, that I work with or participate with. The Tremblant International Blues Festival.
Yep, Tremblant, oui.
I just started a new one, Au Son du Moulin in Bécancourt, Au Son du Moulin Blues and Gin. It's a nice little festival.
Blues et Gin.
Just started up, and if you like gin and you like blues, you're definitely at the right place. Festival de Jazz et Blues de Saguenay.
Du Saguenay, okay.
That's a festival. I've been working there for a long time, in partnership with them, and it's, we're kind of spoiled in Quebec. We got some great events, and
we definitely do have a lot of stuff. We are spoiled. I am the first to admit we are definitely spoiled when it comes to festivals and stuff. We have it all here.
But also to top it off, because I travel quite a bit. We probably have the best sound teams in Canada, at least, for sure.
Oh, wow.
And probably a lot in the States compared to us. It's when the artists come over and they go, man, you guys did a great job. It's like impressive.
But I also have to redirect that, because I know in France they went through that big surge of jazz, and their jazz scene actually is something else. They're big. A lot of the underground scene there too. I know they got pretty big into that. Have you ever checked out those markets by any chance?
Yeah, well, I went once to the Cognac Blues Passion Festival.
Oh.
I was kind of forced to drink cognac for a whole week.
Oh, poor you.
And it's quite impressive, but Europe has a true love for the old music,
yes.
Jazz and blues, and even rock and roll. They really support the roots, the people that started the music, and it's impressive. Because I know some places in the States are upset that we're not taking care of our elderly musicians, that should get more attention, that they deserve. But Europe is really, really impressive. There's a lot of blues artists, especially older blues artists, are having a good career in Europe.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
Nice. We definitely need to respect these people, because they bring us, for example, where would we be in this pandemic if we didn't have any music to listen to? I can't even think of that. But
I wouldn't be here. Right?
No, a lot of music really saved our life, and listening to good music and making sure it sounds great and everything was definitely a big pass time. And speaking of listening to music, this I do know for a fact. Let's talk about your vinyl collection. You're Mr. Vinyl. I know you said you're already itching because it's been a long week since you haven't gone vinyl shopping. Me, it's been 2 weeks, so I kind of feel that itch too. But
well, I joined Instagram maybe less than a year ago, and I thought I liked vinyl, but there's some people that really, really like vinyl. But for myself, I've always had vinyl. I've always played vinyl. I never left that format. I may have put it aside a little bit, but I've always got 3 or 4 turntables, that kind of thing. But just the passion, just to go to a record store, for me is it's like going on vacation. It's relaxing. It's like a spa.
It is.
I go there and I'm going through, and the hunt, hunt, looking for it. And I got my daughter. It was totally vinyl nut now. And so we go shopping together. So that was kind of cool.
Actually, I started dragging my daughters. My youngest, not so much, but my oldest is actually really starting to appreciate it. She's actually picking up a lot of the old tunes. She got into a lot of old Genesis, and she's picking up in some CCR stuff. And just anytime I bring anything home, and she's even she started liking a lot of the soul music. I started picking up some Isaac Hayes and stuff. And she's like, "Daddy, what's this?" I'm like, "Oh my God, this is great."
Well, my daughter just picked up Curtis Mayfield.
Nice.
You know, it's like she's got an old soul. She loves the old music. She likes the new music as well, but really appreciates this. Certainly, soul, loves the old soul style, the sound. But the first time I went shopping with her, I think, or maybe the second time, she goes, you know, can I buy this one? And I look at it, and it's the Turtles. I mean, it's like, my daughter's 18, and she wants to buy a record by the Turtles, and a used one at that. And it's like, yeah, let's go for it.
It's like one of those proud moments we have. It's like, I'm so happy.
Well, no, she's really studied it, and you know, she knows her stuff. So it's kind of cool, and I'm learning stuff from her, which is kind of cool too.
Well, I think what I love, though, we're going to go a little bit off topic here a bit, but a lot of the newer movies, they're starting to introduce a lot of the older school music and stuff. So, like, for example, like Guardians of the Galaxy that came out, you're getting like a ton of classic rock on that stuff. And my daughter is like constantly singing
Double album.
Yeah, it is a double album. So she's not seeing this, but for her birthday's coming up soon, she's going to be getting those soundtracks, and she's going to be happy, I know for sure.
She's not watching you?
No. She no. She's probably busy with her friends or something right now. But speaking of vinyls, because this is something I touched a bit on also in the past. I've had a lot of discussions with some other vinyl collectors and some other people who are big into sound and stuff, some audiophiles too. Vinyls of the past versus vinyls that are created today. Like, they're not the same. They're not totally the same. Like, what's your perspective? Like,
well, it's an eye-opener. I mean, you have to remember the records that came out in the 70s, for the most part, you know, there are some labels where they really put out a really high-quality vinyl. But for the most part, you know, like a Frampton Comes Alive, they made so many of them. You can tell, you know, if it's floppy and it's easy to bend, that wasn't high quality. So
yeah, I got a few of those.
So I've got records. I'm looking at them. I go, you know, the cover's nice. It's original, but I've been buying the new ones. You know, they're 180 gram. Sometimes they're colored. They're colored vinyl, like the David Bowie low.
I picked one up. That was because of you. I picked that up, by the way.
Well, there you go.
You showed the picture. You opened it was orange. I'm like, all right, I have to have that now too.
It looks so cool, right? So, but even my wife got me a Christmas gift 2 years ago. It's called Vinyl Moon, and what you do is you get a compilation on vinyl once a month. And you get different artists that are working on the album cover on top of that. So it's art and music. And it's not all my speed. You know, it's a lot of techno stuff, some that I like, but others that, yeah. But it was kind of cool getting that once a month, getting kind of like the Columbia House.
It's almost like the old Columbia House.
Yeah.
Order 12 CDs for a penny.
1 penny.
That 1 penny turned into a heavy bill at the end. My parents weren't happy after that, but that's another story altogether.
So to come back to the quality of the vinyls today are just phenomenal. For the most part, you got two things you have to worry about, right? If it's 180 gram, you're off to a good start, and how it was transferred. You know, if the Eddie Kramer, you know, the one guy that I like a lot, and he does a lot of the Hendrix stuff, has really done some great stuff. I mean, I get to listen to the old mix and then the new mix, and I see what he did and what he was able to elevate.
Well, I picked up the re-release of the Hendrix Blues album. That is just one hell of a good album.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's so good. Like, I haven't heard anything that good in a while, but it was great. And yeah, for sure. That's what I love about when we go to a record shop. You can still see like a lot of all the used records, and then you see a brand new version. Because a lot of times when I'm at a record store, there's a lot of people say, "Oh, I remember this album. Oh, it's new. What's the difference?" And this and that. And then you can just feel in the weight and.
Well, just to give you an example, remember Let It Be came out not too long ago, and everybody kind of got back into it, and I was always upset that I had a copy of Let It Be, but it wasn't a gatefold.
Okay.
So I said, I got to correct that. So I started hunting for an original gatefold copy, and I managed to find one, a New York copy, and I'm happy. But I put it on, and it didn't sound very good.
Okay.
But I'm still happy because I wanted to have that cover. You know, a nice gatefold, got the picture in the middle, and so. sometimes I buy albums just for the cover.
You gotta admit, the covers are pretty sweet. There's so many covers I see out there because I'm also a big comic book nut. And to me, it's almost hand in hand, the art, I look at them like, wow, that's cool, wow, that's cool. And
yeah, because sometimes you get the Best Buy series, right? They just do, non-gatefold.
Or they'll put a stamp on it or
something. They put a stamp and it says Best Buy on it. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, but...
that's why I bought the David Bowie Low.
Yeah, but it's a good album too. It's definitely a good album. So, I know we talked a bit about like your involvement in the blues and the Blues Society. What year did the Blues Society start exactly again?
It's tough to remember, but I think it's 1998.
1998.
I thought it was 1997, but I think
a lot happened between 97 and 98. It's just one big year.
There was more documents available in 98 than 97, so let's go with 98.
Let's go with 98. It's like officially on paper 98. Yes. But you want to check them out. It's bluesmontreal.com. You can see all the latest things that's coming up, who they support, what they've done in the past. I highly recommend to check them out. They support a lot of local, which I'm a huge advocate. I love supporting local because without the local scene, well, we don't have much of a scene. But so besides blues, and well, you mentioned Bowie and stuff, but what would be some of your other go-to styles of music?
Well, that's it. If you go through my record collection, it's really crazy. It varies from world music to jazz, all kinds of different types of jazz. Blues, rock. I just bought a record, Tommy Guerrero.
Okay.
Who's an old surf guy. A skateboard guy. Sorry.
Okay.
And it's all instrumental, and it's got a little bit of reggae into it, and so basically, and even techno. There's certain techno music that I really, really enjoy. I used to be a big fan of New Order, so I follow some of the trends today, and some work and some don't. And that's the beauty about music. There's so much choice.
Oh, it is.
Try to find something you like, but don't stick with it. Try to extend your thing. So I love instrumental music. I used to listen to some old Brian Eno.
Okay.
I used to listen to a lot of Tangerine Dream back in the old days to read. I'd like to have some instrumental music, so I'd read while listening to Tangerine Dream. And
so if we were to look more from like an audiophile perspective, like people who are really into like listening to like the details of the music, and especially coming from like the systems like we have here at Moon, what are some of the things you listen for in the music? What really is like your trigger of like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
That's a great question. I mean, for me personally, music is like a painting. There's layers. Nice. And sometimes when I'm in the zone, it's not all the time, but when you're paying attention, you're taking your time and you're going to listen to it, you can really isolate stuff. And that's so much fun, where you hear just the bass line by itself, on its own, while the rest of the music is still playing, but you're focused on it. It's kind of cool what you can do with music. And, what we were doing in that room before was, you hear the piano. And like Dominique said, it sounded like the piano was way over there, even though the speakers were right there, right in front of me.
Exactly.
Right? So you feel like you're in the room, and it's a perfect example of. I had this Jimi Hendrix box set, Band of Gypsies, and it's an 8 LP box set, and it's all the 4 shows at the Fillmore East, the New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So 4 shows. I sat through that, and I felt like I was in the Fillmore East in New York City, listening to people sweat, and while hearing the nuances of this power trio, what they were doing. There's mistakes, right? But there was some really cool vibes coming from it. So I just find a lot of people don't pay attention to the music; they just have it.
Exactly, and I love the way you said it's like being a painter and with portrait and layers. I think that's a fantastic way of putting it. and also to the little details too that a lot of people don't pick up on. Like we heard in the sound room, like the fingers actually slapping on the bass lines, the bit of the chapping of the lips to add that little bit more personality, and it's just little details like that which we pick up, and it just makes a whole nother level of experience of listening.
Well, I mean, once you get that feel, you know, you're hooked.
Yeah.
You're hooked, and then it's like you just want more and more and more, and it's you know, like I said, for me, for the last 2 years during the pandemic, the music has been, you know,
a lifesaver.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
It really.
And also, people got really creative too. A lot of new styles, a lot of new creations came out. People thought of new ways of making incredible music and sounds. Yes, we've been locked up and all that. I personally don't even really want to talk about the pandemic because I've heard enough of it. But I look at the pros of it, like what's come out of it. Like we're experiencing some way new, amazing things coming out today, and it's just amazing. We could chat like all day. Like seriously, I want to pick your brain like crazy. But
ouch.
I know, ouch, sorry. But just a few things. One, I just want to remind everyone that next week is the Montreal Audio Fest at Hotel Bonaventure, weekend of the 25th, 26th, and 27th. Tickets are on sale now. We are going to be there in the Outremont 5, le Outremont 5 à l'Hôtel Bonaventure, le 25, 26 et 27 à l'Hôtel Bonaventure à Montréal. C'est bien pour le Salon Audio Fest Montréal, the Montreal Audio Fest. And I am so excited to go to that. It's been a while. I know there's going to be some vinyl vendors too. You might want to come check it out.
Can I crash?
Yeah, I think you can crash, man. Let's crash together. We're going to go vinyl shopping. We're going to listen to some great sounds, and they're going to have some great speakers, and our stuff's going to be there, so it's already great.
I'll bring my Moon Audio bag.
The Moon Audio bag. Awesome. And yeah, so basically, Brian, thank you so much for being with us today. Like, honestly.
Well,
very
thank
cool.
you for the invite. I mean, it's you know, this is fun talking about music.
I love talking
I can do
about
this anytime.
Yeah, it's all about the culture, the music, the industry. We're just one big happy family, and it comes straight from like the instrument, like from the mind, out of the instruments, out of the recordings, from the systems we use, and so forth. Also, to remind you, our Facebook Live will also be uploaded on our YouTube site. So if those of you who are not able to tune in this week, don't worry, you'll be able to catch up on our YouTube. And for all other information, you can always find us at simaudio.com. You can see us all upcoming events, some of our newsletters you can subscribe to. We will have like different types of products talking about all kinds of new things and everything music and audiophile related. And yeah, that pretty much sums it up for today.
No,
there's only one last thing to do, and you know what that is? Since it's St. Patrick's Day, we have to have a wee little sip. So once again, happy St. Patrick's. Et aussi à notre audience québécois, on a un invité très spécial qui arrive le 21 avril, une émission en français. So once again, thank you all for tuning in. Brian, thanks again. Cheers.
Santé.
Slancha. And thanks again for joining us on our second episode. We'll see you on our third episode in April. And we'll see you then. Keep on listening.